Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Music of the Week. Music of the Week. Got about 6 albums to go through. And my cat's kind of here. I don't know if you can see him, let me move out of the way. Ugh. There he is, just kind of sleeping there. Anyway, I just wanted to show you that. He's going to be chilling back there for a bit. Probably going to be there the entire time while I'm doing this video. I'm sorry I'm blocking the way, but yeah, 6 albums to go through, so let's go through them. We begin with A Certain Ratio and their new album, It All Comes Down to This, which sounds like a very final title for an album. I think it's like their third or fourth. They're not a band that's been around long to my knowledge, but I think they might have been around longer than I can remember, I don't know. Giving this one a B though, I thought this was some really solid sort of indie post-punky stuff. I thought it was really good from that front. Has a lot of really fun lyrics and some really good production. I will admit it's like a very nicely put together album at the end of the day. I do think it's got a few pacing issues though. I do think it doesn't really vary in terms of its sound, which is weird because like the sound it's going for, which injects like a lot of a good funk vibe, doesn't really lean so much into those. It just sort of includes them as like more of a palate cleanser than a new taste, I guess would be the term I would use. I'm proud of that. Holy hell, that was good thinking from my part, because, again, this shit ain't scripted. I do find the lyrics to be pretty good from what I can remember. I think there's themes of some politics stuff. I can't remember. Obviously, there'll be like a text fix, but yeah, I do remember like the performances. I like how the album's put together. I do think it could have done more with what it has, but it is still a pretty solid recommend. Next, we have a bit of rap. We have Cadence Weapon and his newest album, Rollercoaster. I think this is like maybe his third. He's not someone who's been doing this for quite long. Cadence Weapon, I will admit though, is a really good rap name. Indicates a certain flow, and the dude does have that. I'm giving this one a B as well. I quite enjoyed it from like its lyricism because it tackles a very unique theme of like internet culture and technology and AI, especially with how much that's been doing to the internet and to creators on it, like me, even though I'm not really affected by it because no one watches my fucking stuff. Anyway, I do like the themes, and I thought the main guy's central performance was really good. The production was really nice as well. I do think the beats are a tiny bit lacking, and again, my main problem with this one is the pacing, like the overall construction, because a lot of the songs are really, really short, and this is an album that tries to mix in all these elements, but it doesn't give its songs nearly enough time to breathe with those elements. It doesn't give it enough time to really use them to their fullest effect, which is a shame because there was something special in that, and the fact that it's not really used all that much, I mean, it's still got some really good songs and really good themes, and again, the main performance is great. I just really wish it leaned more into its creative vibe, especially considering that AI is specifically at all used for the purposes of creativity, I guess, in a way, or the lack of it. So to counteract that with like a more creative feel to the overall soundscape, I don't know, I feel like that was kind of missing, but I do still enjoy. Again, production's really good, beat work mostly good, and lyrics and performances also proper good. Next, we have Error and their new album Cure. Now, Error is very much a modern day sort of proggy metalcore band, and this is their sixth album and the second one I've listened to. I feel like to this day I was still too kind to the previous one because this one gets the lowest grade, which is a B minus. Now, I will admit, from a technical standpoint, it's a very nicely made album. I think it's got good enough production. I think it's got some good performances, even though it does feel like the vocalists kind of found it in. Like, the screaming vocals aren't nearly that versatile. I do like most of the riffs. I do feel like it sticks to the box standard stuff, but it does have some melody packed into it. But there's also parts of this album that feel like it holds itself back, and like a lot of the pacing is a bit all over the place. Like there's just weird song placements. There's not really the best flow to things, and I feel like the production is trying to wash over a lot of the album's flaws. It's not like a horrible album by any means. It's still got some good stuff to it, and in terms of how it's made, it's really nice. If I could remember a fucking thing about the lyrics, I think there's like stuff about inner darkness and struggle. But from I don't know. I just feel like the album's well made and it's good enough in all of its areas, but I don't feel like it's an album that really feels the need to take it to that next step, which is baffling because a few of the songs are definitely long enough to try and push that boundary, and none of them really do it. It's not even that there's a lack of heaviness on the album. I like a good melodic metalcore album, especially with a prog element, but I don't know, there was just a lack of urgency with this one that I think really upset me, but I do still think you should give it a listen, and it's not horrible. I do think it's got enough good stuff going for it. There's not much else I can say without repeating myself though, so yeah. Next though, we got the one I was looking forward to doing the most, because it is one of my all-time favourite bands, The Ghost Inside, and their new album, Searching for Solace, and I'm giving it an A+, almost completely across the board. The one teeny tiny problem I have, the one weensy tiny problem I have, is the pacing, because none of the songs really hit that super big moment, I guess you could say. That's what the song the last album did. This song doesn't have, this album, as much as I like its songs, it doesn't have anything nearly on the level of Aftermath from the 2020 self-titled. I'm sorry, that song is perfect. It's literally unbeatable. It's The Ghost Inside's best song. But this is still an amazing album. It's still got great lyrical themes of like their struggle and the things they've picked up along the way as well. I'm glad that they're not just doing what they did on their old album, which was on their previous album, which was rightfully so at the time, focusing on the bus crash and the impact it had on their lives. On this one, they've got new things to tackle, which is really good, focusing on good mental health struggles as well, which is nice. The performances are fantastic. John Vigil does more clean singing, and it works really well. Obviously, his screams are still on point. He's got like a nice growl to him, which he uses more in this album, but his clean vocals really soar here. Really good instrumentation as well. I like it feels like their most melodic, hardcore leaning album, by the way. Just really good melodic, hardcore leaning metalcore with a good melodic focus. Again, like I said with Era's album, I do like it when it's done well, and on this album it's just done better. Also just really good pacing besides that. I like how it mixes things up. Love the themes, love the performances. Production's really good as well. Handled by, I think, the band. I can't remember who did it, but again, we'll put blurb here. Yeah, it's The Ghost Inside. You guaranteed a good fucking album from them, so go and listen to it. Next is High on Fire with their new album Cometh the Storm. Now, this is a band I'd heard about before, and I think I got them mixed with a band called Arcade Fire, and I've listened to Arcade Fire, at least one Arcade Fire album, I can't remember which one. I'm giving this one a B+. I thought this was really, really good, sludgy, stonery rock metal. I like the style that it has. It's got a really good focus in terms of that on the production, like it's a super organically brought out thing in the sound. And I like the riffs, and goddamn the performances on display. The lead vocalist, especially Matt Pike, is a really good singer, and like his guitar work is really good, but like he's got this like certain charisma, like this brooding, growly charisma to his voice, which I quite enjoy. And production dope too. It was handled by the band alongside Kurt Ballou, so you know you're in for a good fucking time when Kurt Ballou is involved, because he knows metal music production. I do think the main things of suffers from are lyrical inconsistencies, because I've seen the band comment that this was focused on like things like COVID-19 and the current political climate, but then I also checked and it's got like mythological influences, and then I tried to read the lyrics and I couldn't fucking find anything, but from what I could understand when listening to the album, it just seems like they're not really much of a facet, and again, I know I'm a weirdo who actually cares about the lyrics, but you know, I like a good, more cohesive theme, and I do wish that they brought that to the forefront. And my other problem is some of the pacing. Again, I know I keep bringing up pacing a lot when it comes to especially any episode I've done recently, but the pacing is really odd. There is quite a lot of wankery in terms of the pacing. There are a lot of songs that just drag and try and slide their feet across the mud just before they get to the next point, and it's not really something that I find enjoyable when I sit through it. I mean, again, really good skill on the instrumentation, but you know, I would like them to hit the vocal part at some point. I would like them to just take out most of the filler stuff, because that feels like there's a lot of filler stuff on this album. But you know, I still think this is really good, and considering it's the band's first album in 6 years, they could have done a lot worse, and considering it was my first album by them, I don't think it was a horrible jumping on point. And finally, we have the Libertines with their newest album, All Quiet on the Eastern Esplanade. Now this is a band I'd, again, heard about before, never listened to, and this one gets the second highest grade of the episode, which is an I really shout out to Gargora. I really liked this one though. Just some really nicely put together indie rock, indie punky garage stuff. And this band's first album in 9 years, so I'm just saying High on Fire have less of an excuse. Yeah, I just really fucking vibed with this one. I just thought this was a very fun album to listen to. I liked a lot of the instrumentation, but it's definitely the pacing. See, it's a good one this time. It's definitely the pacing that took center stage for me. Like, there's so much versatility in each song, but it doesn't sacrifice flow across any of the songs at all, and it keeps cohesion, and it doesn't really rely too heavily on filler stuff, and it mixes in the pacing and the speed of songs really nicely. It's just well handled. The performances are fantastic as well. I like a lot of the riffs. I will admit maybe some of the instrumentation is my least favorite part because it can lack a little bit of creativity, but which is weird because the structuring is really creative and so is most everything else. I do like the lyrical themes of some love lost and political stuff, and also influences from films, and yeah, just really good stuff. And the performance is awesome as well. I like the work of the band. And the production's really good too, very, very clean, but without over polishing anything, letting things stand out on their own, you know? And yeah, just really, really nicely fitting the vibe of the album. My knuckle cracked slightly. But yeah, for my first album by this band, again, I could have done a lot worse. I could have done way fucking worse, because this album is proper good. I really liked it. That'll about do it for me. The official ranking order system, I guess you could call it that, is the thing I'm going to do now. Pay attention. If I had to pick in any particular order, I'd probably go with Error with Cure. Probably a certain ratio with It All Comes Down to This, Cadence Weapon with Roller Coaster, High on Fire with Come with the Storm, The Libertines with All Look Quiet on the Eastern Esplanade, and finally at the top the Ghost Inside with Searching for Solace. But as always, go and listen to all of these yourself and formulate your own opinions. Favourite album cover? Probably Cadence Weapons one. I don't know. I like the fact that it's a photo of him, just like it's a photo, but it's like sort of upside down and sort of representative of like AI culture and like creativity in it. And I quite like that. I think it's supposed to be thematic, but if we're just talking for pure art, maybe High on Fire's one. But I'm leaning more towards Cadence Weapon personally. As for favorite song, it would have to go to. Oh, it is pretty hard. But I'll have to go with Cityscapes from the Ghost Inside new album. Yeah, just an amazing song. Feels like a sequel to White Light from Get What You Give from back in 2012. You know, just a very emotional song. Probably should have been the closer, to be honest, and it's sort of halfway through the album, but still a really good Ghost Inside song on an album full of them. That'll about do it for me. The next thing you'll see me for will be tomorrow night. I got more PBW vs ABW, and also tomorrow day, I got a I was going to say a stream. No, I've got a reaction to do. I don't know what the reactions are going to be, but I have a reaction of some sort. So I'll see you all for those things tomorrow, and then possibly Fight the Night review on Sunday, because there is a UFC card this weekend. But it's at the Apex, so I'm not going to hold my hopes up. So we'll see what happens. As always, thank you for watching. You're awesome. Bye-bye.